Hey you lovely lot, welcome back to Callan on Cars, the channel that recycles the unrecyclable. And because so many of you were lovely and left wonderful comments on the TR7 video, we're going to do some more TR7 content today because you seem to like it. Now the TR7, as I said in my last video, has got a lot of original paint. Quite a lot of original paint, in fact probably about 95% original paint I reckon. But today we're going to see how good we can make that paint be. Can it be shinier, can it be glossier? And the man, as always, to help me with these things is my good mate, my great mate, Daz.
Oh yeah.
Oh hey. Didn't see you down there. So Daz, welcome back to sunny Nottingham. It's wazzing down, absolutely wazzing down out there.
It's horrible, isn't it?
Not very nice. So Darren, this is a 1976 car.
Yes.
With, I would imagine, quite a high degree of original paint on it. I would say probably about 90-95% original paint on original panels. So what are the things you have to look out for when you're restoring original paint?
Well, a car this old is going to be single stage paint.
Just say, oh, this car's younger than me.
This car of this age is going to have single stage paint. Now, some of the things we need to check out for, and again, single stage, despite what some people say, is very similar to modern day paint.
And for those people that don't know the difference between single stage and three stage paint, please explain.
So single stage paint is basically one coat of paint. There's no clear coat on top.
So it's just primer.
It's just primer, paint, done. Whereas, you know, modern day paints, you'll have primer, single stage, primer, paint, and lacquer. So when you're polishing the lacquer on that. On this, you're polishing the paint. But again, they're both very similar when you come to polishing it. The only thing we do need to do, again, on both, is check the thickness of the paint.
And how would we do that?
Well, we have a paint depth gauge over there. And the reason we're going to check it is because a car this age has probably been polished before.
Yes.
And it could be very, very thin. And you don't want to go through it. You don't want to end up having nasty white patches everywhere. So we've got to check the depth of the paint first. But that's about as far as it goes between the difference between single stage and modern day paint.
Now, because we try and do stuff on this channel that people can replicate at home, is that paint depth gauge something that's realistically affordable to buy?
This one here cost me £9 from Amazon. Now, I didn't want to bring a big, fancy, expensive one. My one at home is about £800.
Yeah.
This one cost £9.99 from Amazon, and it does pretty much the same thing.
I think you know what to do, guys.
You need to get yourself one, because I wouldn't be taking on any polishing jobs without one.
Yeah.
You just need it there, just that peace of mind.
Because the things with original paint as well, once you burn through, that's it. You're going to have to paint it, and then it is an original paint.
100%, yeah, 100%. Once you burn through, that's it. There's no saving it. It's just a respray.
Right, so let's get on with it. So first of all, depth check. Right, Daz, so tell me what we're looking for. So this car was actually built by a number of disenchanted Liverpudlians. Hi, guys, if you're watching. All those lovely people up in Speak back in '76. They weren't very happy. So there is a very real chance that the paint on this car was deliberately put on in a rubbish fashion. The cars weren't brilliantly built back then. But what numbers would you hope to see on old paint like this?
We're looking for anywhere above 100. In places, I'm getting 154. There, 129. But we're looking above 100. Anything below 100, it's had a polish before, I'd say. Anything below, I would say 80 to 90, it's very low. Anything below 70, don't touch. There's not a lot you can do with it. Once it's below 70, it's game over. But we seem to be getting over 100. Now, 100 may seem a lot. This is 100 microns. Let me just show you how thin that is.
What's that one saying, Daz?
That one is saying 264. Now, again, it's where someone's done a bit of a optimistic repair with what looks like nail varnish.
I like optimistic repairs.
But so far, overall, your paint is looking fairly good. It looks like it's safe to polish. We're hitting levels above 100. So now what we need to do is just get the car ready for polishing. If you are unsure if your paint is single stage or whether it's modern, you've got clear coat on top, easiest thing to do is grab yourself one of your wife's makeup pads. Obviously, if my wife's
where did you get that from?
I bought this from Tesco's, not the wife's makeup bag. And grab yourself
It was in his car, ladies and gentlemen.
a fine cut polish. What you need to do is just pop a bit onto there and just give it a quick little rub.
And you put your makeup on better than that.
And you'll notice it's starting to turn red, which means that is single stage paint. If there was clear coat on this, you wouldn't get the red coming off. That is where it is cutting into that red paint that is on there. And that's the easiest way to see if your car is single stage or modern paint with clear coat on top. So the first thing we need to do to prep this car for polishing is first we need to wash it. Now I'm going to start off by washing this with a snow foam, just a pH neutral snow foam. Just going to spray it on, rinse it off. And we're going to go straight on with our pH neutral shampoo, Born to be Mild. Once we've done that, it's going to be a case of drying it. Now this is where we're going to be polishing it, so we need to start doing a little bit more. We're going to go in with a chemical decontamination. So I'm going to go around, I'm going to hit this with a bit of iron fallout remover. Now this is just to take off any of that iron contamination from brake dust that's come onto the vehicle and embedded itself into the paint. Once we've done that, I'm going to go around and check for any tar spots. Now if I need to, I'll remove those with a tar and glue remover. Once that's done, the most vital thing to do before polishing is clay bar. We're going to give this vehicle a full clay bar all over. Now what this does is it removes any of that embedded contamination that is still left on the paint. Now if you feel your paint and it feels really, really rough, then it needs a clay bar. If once you've clay barred it and it still feels rough afterwards, you're going to have to go again. You want your paint to feel as smooth as glass, because any contamination can cause problems in the polishing stage.
So Dazzle, clay bar tips for disaffected youth out there that have never used one before.
Well, the first thing to do is put your clay bar in your pocket and warm it up. It makes it a lot easier and a lot more malleable in your hands. Now what you're going to do is you want to get half your clay bar, because you don't need a whole one, and just flatten it out into a disc, like so. Just enough for your fingertips to, I mean, I've got quite large fingers, so I need a big disc. But flatten it out for your fingers, and that's all you're going to be claying with. Next vital thing you need is a bit of clay lube. Some people use a bit of shampoo, some people just use clay lube like I do. For using clay lube, you've got a special bottle, you can spray it on, you know it's doing the right job. You've not got to sit and mess around making dilutions up of shampoo and water. It just does the job. All you got to do, spray liberally, cover the entire area you're going to be working on, and have at it, just work in straight lines.
So what are we trying to pick up using the clay?
I've already done a chemical decontamination where I've taken all the embedded iron out of the vehicle. There might still be a little bit, see, you've got a bit of overspray there from a previous vehicle. There's some, you can still feel it, just embedded contamination. You can just, if you run your fingers over it, you can feel it's just a bit rough. A bit like, you know, a freshly shaven face. You can just feel little bits there.
How many people's freshly shaven faces are you touching?
Too many. So what this does, it kind of just goes in there, and if you go in straight lines, it will start to eventually remove anything that's stuck in the paint. Now that is quite in there. But yeah, it takes out all the contaminations that are in the paint. And if I show you in just a second, you can really see all those little black dots, bits that are picking up that the wash and the chemical decontamination hasn't removed.
And if we leave those in, obviously the polish is just going to swirl those around and scratch.
So if we leave them in, what happens is the polisher, the pad will pick them up, and you'll end up with what's called pigtails. So you'll see tiny little swirls instead of like the, you know, the mass swirls that you see on a car in your local Tesco's car park. The spider web effect you see, you'll see tiny little what look like pigtails, and that is just where it's picked up that dirt and it's swirled around in the paint. It just looks terrible. So you want to get them out. You can't polish without clay barring. And the same as you don't want a clay bar without polishing, because again, some people will say you can. Clay barring will leave a lot of little tiny micro scratches called marring all over your paintwork. It just looks terrible. So unless you're going to polish, don't clay bar. And if you're going to polish, clay bar.
So as Daz is doing the tape, you can now see, which you couldn't see in my last video, just how many dents are in this car. So this is the bonnet. You see there's crease there. There's huge dents there. It's the perfect place. One of the reasons I want to get it polished, not only because it will look nice, but also when Steve, my mate, comes to take the dents out, obviously the shinier the paint, the easier the dents are to remove. And you can see on the sides, I don't know where it was parked or stored. This is the most ripply car I think I've ever bought. It's super sound, but it's quite wavy. If you look on the passenger side, or the driver's side for the UK people, it is absolutely full. Creases, ripples. I don't know whether it's someone's opened loads of doors into it, or it's just been in a garage at some point and someone's stored a load of stuff against it. So that's going to be a lot worse when we're finished. Right, here we go, man and machine in perfect harmony. That's what machine are we using and what product are we using?
So because this is a very, very flat vehicle, I'm going to be using Archangel, which is a 15mm throw machine polisher. Now, if you don't know what 15mm throw is, it's just the distance of where this pad will reach. Basically, the head will do a 15mm oscillation. We do have another machine that's an 8mm oscillation, which is ideal for a lot of other vehicles or beginners. But again, very flat. using a 15mm one. Now I do have the 8mm throw polisher down there, set up with an 3-inch pad. This is a 5-inch pad. It's a very, very soft pad, this one. One of the rules of polishing is always start with the least aggressive cut first. So a least aggressive pad, least aggressive polish. You can always take more off. You can't put paint back on unless it's, you know, getting a respray is very, very expensive. So always start with the least aggressive approach first. Now I'm starting off with a black finishing pad. I'm starting off with our super ultra fine cut polish critical finish. Now, one thing I am going to say before I start is you may notice there are a few areas that I will be avoiding because they are patinaed, as we've spoken about before. So I might avoid a few areas. But now it's time to start the polishing. Chuck the cable over your shoulder. You don't want this dragging across the car. You don't want a lovely polished area that you end up scratched up with the cable of the machine. First thing we need to do is prime this pad. Now it's really, really simple. All we need to do is put some, I'd say, baked bean sized dots of polish all around the pad, like so. Then once we've done that, it's just a case of working in about a 2x2 area. So blob your polish out like so. Set your machine to 1, maybe 2, and just spread that out. When you are polishing, one of the major things that you need to keep in mind is you do not need to apply any pressure to the machine at all. The machine's weight itself will be enough of pressure that you'll need to apply to it. All your fingers are there for are to guide that polisher. You're not pushing down, you'll be creating too much heat and you could potentially cause more damage. Now the reason we overlap on each pass by 50% is because as you are polishing, that pad, on a dual action especially, will be slightly lifting up at the edge, so it won't be getting that full 5 inches that are making contact with the paint. So by going over by 50%, you're making sure you get an even coverage with the pad.
So when someone advertises 5 inches, you're not always getting the full 5 inches?
You never get full 5 inches. No, you're only probably getting about maybe 3.5 inches. You know.
Story of my life.
One of the main things to keep in mind is how fast you need to move when polishing. Now, when you're polishing like this, about 1 inch a second. You don't want to be moving too quick. You want to take it slow, steady, and keep a constant speed.
Maybe put some music on, pour a glass of wine.
And panel temperature. Panel temperature is something else you need to keep in mind. With the back of your hand, just feel the panel. If the panel's lukewarm or cool, then you're absolutely fine. If you're starting to notice it feeling hot, stop instantly, move on, go somewhere else, give it a break. If it's getting too hot, you're going to cause damage. Just grab your microfiber towel, give it a wipe. Now go in small circles, always in circles. Look at that. Just after one set, you can already see a massive difference. So you may notice after doing a whole panel on your vehicle, you've wiped your pad off with your microfiber towel, your brush, your toothbrush, but you may notice it is just looking absolutely filthy like that. That is now clogged up with all the paint that has come off onto the pad. Clear coat, if you're obviously doing modern paint or the paint from this. All that polish that may have got in there, maybe dried out, and it's just now not doing the job as effective as you'd like, and it can cause a little bit more damage. So best thing to do, just pull it off. Now you don't need any fancy pad washers, you don't need any fancy tools to do this. Just stick it in your bucket. Now I've put in here microfiber towel wash. Just pop your pad in there, rub it around on your grit guard in the bottom. Stick it back on your polisher. Set your polish to full speed. The pad is now clean and dry and ready to go again.
There's only a few lovely people who can see this on your televisions or telephones, depending on how you're watching this. It's actually properly changing colour. Red does oxidise and flatten anyway. But you might see from the Mighty Dazzler working his magic. So a great detailer with great products gets quick results. So we've actually been doing this since Daz started, I reckon 15 minutes, Daz, is that fair?
It's not long, about 15 minutes started on this.
You can start to see the shine. You can also see now
you can see that
the very amplified dent, which is kind of half the point of doing this. Half the point of doing this is so that we can, hopefully, give my mate Steve, the ultimate dent guy, just a little bit of a fighting chance and seeing where they all are. I think you might have to move in for a week.
I mean, one thing when you are polishing it, you do need to sort of take into consideration is you're not going to make a car look showroom fresh. There's always going to be managing expectations. Like, you're not going to remove all of this. You're not going to remove that just by polishing. And up here, you've got some sort of chemical staining. Again, polishing is not going to take that out in this. That's gone deep down into the paint. But for what we are getting now, it's 100 times better.
We're just trying to make it from a 20-yarder into a 5-yarder, aren't we?
100%.
That's what today's all about.
We're getting there.
Dazzle, can you be too thin?
You can be too thin.
Obviously, it's not a problem we've ever had.
No, it's definitely not a problem I've got. Unfortunately, we've taken out the top layer of oxidization, but there's still quite a bit of swirling in the roof that can be seen at certain angles, but we are now getting down to, I mean, earlier we were at 110, we're now 86 there, 96, so we've taken a fair layer off, but the problem is you've got to know when to stop. We could carry on, but we could end up doing more damage than it's worth. Again, we've given it a bit of a zhuzh, and it's a bit brighter than it was. But yeah, the deeper imperfections, I think, unfortunately, are going to have to stay. So now we've taken his car as far as we can possibly go without causing any further damage. It's time to stop the paint from oxidizing again. Now, the reason paint oxidizes is because there is no protection on the vehicle to stop the UV rays. What I'm doing today is I'm going to be sticking on Scarlet Fever. This is our hybrid wax. This will put some protection down for up to 6 months, hopefully stopping this paintwork from going oxidized again, and also adding a little bit of gloss and that beading that everybody seems to love.
Thank you, Daz. It's absolutely amazing.
Looks good.
Am I going to win the Triumph Concours? Probably not. No. But does it look a million times better than it did this morning? Absolutely. So I think a few things have happened here. Number one, it's loads more presentable, so thank you so much. Secondly, it kind of just brings that little pride of ownership in, doesn't it?
It does, yeah.
When you get into a shiny car, it's always more fun than when you get into a dull, flat one. The other thing is, because the next job is taking all the dents out, then how much easier to see, which is both good and bad.
Yeah, because you can now see absolutely everything, can't you?
And there are hundreds and hundreds of dents on this car.
Shall we take it and get it dirty again?
I think we should. But talk to me about the thickness, because at the start of the day, we were getting the old 999 depth gauge out, which actually does an amazing job. And it's a really helpful tool, isn't it? Because here, particularly on the roof, you were having to stop. So we could have made it shinier, but we've had to stop, haven't we, in a sensible place?
We have, yeah. So we've taken it as far as we can. And without that depth gauge, you wouldn't really know how much you're taking off. It's definitely something you need if you're going to be polishing your car by machine. A lot of people go in blind, and a lot of people are lucky. But if you're doing something like this and you're taking off a lot of oxidization, you're trying to do a heavy correct, then you need a depth gauge, 100%. I'd be lost without it.
So there you go. Use those tips. Go in the link below if you want to get any of the products. And me and Daz are going to the Toby Carvery now. So yeah.
Let's go.
Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe. You know what to do. See you next time.